Here are two problems dealing with finding volume of a solid. So the first thing we need to figure out is what kind of shape do we have? We can see that in this first example, we're working with a cone. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what is our formula for volume of a cone. And all formulas will be given for these shapes on the exam. So we know that the volume of a cone is V equal to pi r squared h over 3. And what do all these letters mean? R is going to be your radius, and h is going to be your height. So if we read through the problem, we're trying to find volume of a cone, which cued me to use this equation, with a radius of 3 millimeters, that's my R value, and a height of 7 millimeters, so that's my H value. Now in this problem, it says to use 22 over 7 for pi. So instead of using a pi button on our calculator, we're going to use the value of 22 over 7. And then we need to figure out what the volume is. So we're going to say V is equal to, instead of pi, which is like 3.14, it's a button on a calculator, they want us to use this fraction of 22 over 7, which is just an estimate of pi. R squared, so my radius was given to be 3, squared, given from the formula. H is my height, which was given to be 7 over 3. 3 comes from the formula. And so then this is my value. So I can work this out by hand and figure out all these numbers and calculations, but I'm going to grab my calculator to help me, just any simpler scientific calculator. And I'm going to just type in what I have. Now, anytime I'm typing in fractions, I want to use parentheses. So I'm going to say 22 divided by 7 times, I'm going to do 3 squared. I'm going to keep the squared outside the parentheses, so but whatever I fill in that parentheses, it'll square for me. And then 7 over 3. So this is my entire formula, filling in my radius and my height, and I get a value of 66. So the volume of this cone that they have given me is 66 cubic millimeters. Now, hopefully that kind of helped with how that was going about, but let's kind of do another one that gives it to me in a different form, but we're going to use the same formula. So again, this says, find the volume of the solid shown below. This is our cone shape. So right there, from volume and the shape of this, I know I'm going to be using the formula V equals pi r squared h over 3. And it says use 3.14 for pi. So again, they're trying to help me out like, hey, let's just estimate what pi is. And in this case, they're going to use 3.14 for this value. Now we use pi in any calculation that we're dealing with a circle. And it is just a numerical value that helps you with calculations. Again, it is even a button on some of your calculators. You can see on this calculator here, here's the pi button. But because they're giving you exact values, like the 22 over 7 or 3.14, we're going to use that value. Now it says round your answer to the nearest tenth, so that means it's going to be 1 decimal place, telling me how to round. And this is the values we have. So we need to say V is equal to, instead of pi, they want me to use 3.14. My radius is this little value right here. It's from the center of your circle to the outside of the circle. That's creating your base. That's hard to read, but that's a 3. Squared comes from the formula, times your height, which they give me to be 8 over 3. So I always want to write my formula, fill in my formula, and then I'm going to come over here to my calculator. I'm going to type in those values. So this time I'm going to use 3.14 as they told me. 3 squared times 8 over 3. And so that gives me 75.36. Now they told me round to the tenths place, which is right here. So I do need to round this. Whenever you're rounding to the tenths place, you look at the number beside it. If it's 5 or bigger, it'll make this one go up. So my final answer would be 75.4. So I hope this helps with how to find volume of cone. Just let me know if you need any more assistance.